Here are my Euro 2024 final predictions. I just want to say before the video starts, thank you all for the support on my prediction videos. I think I've done pretty well. I predicted the semi-final, France versus Spain, and I also predicted England versus Netherlands, and then for the final I predicted Spain versus England, so I think I've done pretty well. But now moving on to the predictions, I want to start off with Spain because they have been absolutely outstanding this tournament. Of course, they started off with a 3-0 win against Croatia. Goals from Morata, Fabian Ruiz and Carvajal saw them win 3-0, all of them goals being from the first half. It slowed down in the second half, but you can see how dominant Spain were in that game, especially in that first half. They were just excellent, controlled the game all over Croatia. And yeah, in the end, they won 3-0, and it was a very convincing performance. And then in the second game, they had to play the previous winners, Italy, and honestly, they completely dominated this game. They had all the possession, they had all the shots, they had all the shots on target. They controlled the game in the midfield, defence, attack. It was just a very dominant display, but they just weren't clinical. An own goal from Ricardo Calafori saw Spain narrowly beat Italy 1-0. And in the last game of the group, it didn't matter, but they managed to beat Albania 1-0 to top the group with 9 points, the only team in the competition to do so. So we already got an understanding of how good Spain actually are. And in the round of 16, they had to play Georgia, and despite going 1-0 down early on, they managed to win 4-1 with a very dominant display from goals from Rodri, Fabian Ruiz, Nico Williams and Dani Olmo. They had 75% possession, 36 shots and 3.36 expected goals. After seeing how good Spain were, they had to play host Germany, and honestly, this game was outstanding. First half was a bit but then Dani Olmo opened up the scoring, and it looked like Spain were going to win 1-0. Florian Wirtz equalised late on, and it looked like Germany were going to win this game. But in extra time, in the last minute, Marino managed to score a header to give Spain the 2-1 lead and win the game. In the semi-final, they had to play France, and despite an early scare, goals from Lamine Yamal and Dani Olmo saw them win 2-1 in normal time. Spain had beaten Croatia 3-0, Italy 1-0, Albania 1-0, Georgia 4-1, Germany 2-1 and France 2-1. So they've won every single game of this competition, and they're definitely favourites for this game. Now moving on to England, and I found it very interesting how we are actually in this final. Of course, we started off the campaign with a 1-0 win against Serbia. A goal by Jude Bellingham opened up the scoring, and after that we just sat back. In the second game, we played Denmark, and this is the game that got a lot of criticism. A lot of people thought Southgate wasn't good enough. He didn't know what he's doing. His tactics were poor, and of course, that ultimately led us to conceding that game and draw 1-1 to Denmark. Same was also said about that game against Slovenia. Southgate got cups thrown at him. He got a lot of criticism online. A lot of people thought England were going out in the round of 16. His tactics, he weren't changing. The lineup was still the same. This was at the point where he topped the group, but he had nothing to really show for it. Such a big part to how England have got to this final is the game against Slovakia. Of course, Jude Bellingham scored that incredible overhead kick to send it to extra time, and this game is always going to be remembered in England history. Just the moment, everything it meant to the fans. We saw the fan park celebrations after this goal. It was absolutely crazy. And then Harry Kane's goal in extra time. We carried on the momentum, and then we managed to win the game 2-1 in extra time, and it goes down in England history. So we're in the quarter-final. We've beat Serbia 1-0. We drew to Denmark 1-1. We drew to Slovenia 0-0. It was a very lucky win against Slovakia. We haven't shown anything so far in this tournament. And when we played Switzerland, a lot of people weren't confident, especially seeing them draw to Germany, beat Italy. There was a very good national team, and it was a very close game. It went to penalties. And of course, we all know what happened with that iconic commentary from Alan Shearer.
Palmer, Bellingham, Saka, Tony, Trent, pressure. What pressure?
This commentary was very iconic, but everyone was still against England. You know, every single prediction, every single round, everyone was still predicting England to lose. No one thought would make it to this final, especially with the way it was playing. I thought the performance against Netherlands was actually quite good, especially in that first half. I thought it was a lot more convincing. And yeah, the penalty was probably a bit dodgy, but who actually really cares? You know, I thought in the 90 minutes we were the better team, and Ollie Watkins' goal was deserved. The moment was insane. Everyone went mental. England are in another European final, but now it's time for the predictions. Spain managed to beat Croatia 3-0, Italy 1-0, Albania 1-0, Georgia 4-1, Germany 2-1, France 2-1. They've just been incredible all tournament, winning all 6 games. England beat Serbia 1-0, drew to Denmark 1-1, drew to Slovenia 0-0, beat Slovakia 2-1 in extra time, beat Switzerland on penalties, and then managed to beat Netherlands 2-1. England's brand is to go 1-0 down and then manage to win, but something is telling me this is going to change. And I don't think we're going to concede first. I think we're actually going to score first. I think a goal from Harry Kane, maybe from the penalty spot, will give England a 1-0 lead going into half-time, and I think we'll be fairly confident. I think throughout the second half, Spanish are going to dominate, but in the end, I think Kobbie Mainoo is going to get a last-minute goal to win England the Euros. It's going to be a special moment. Yeah, I'm maybe dreaming. This prediction probably won't happen, but my prediction is England 2, Spain 0. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Of course, this prediction probably won't happen, but throughout the whole tournament, I backed Gareth Southgate, I backed England to win, and I'm going to back us in the final. Come on, England.